Hi, my name is Rebecca Bradley, and I'm from Colorado Christian University. Today I'd like to share with you a reflective presentation of a male late in adulthood. I interviewed a man that is part of our home group at church. He is currently 62 years old. His background consists of parents that are still married and 9 other brothers and sisters. He was second oldest in that lineup. His father worked outside the home while his mother stayed home raising the children and fostering over 30 babies while he was growing up. Now I'd like to take the time to take you deeper into each developmental stage and show how these different stages made him into the man he is today. The first is the prenatal development. Once a child enters the stage of an embryo, growth and development happen quickly. Kell and Kavanaugh state growth and specialization proceed so rapidly that the 8-week-old embryo looks distinctively human with eyes, arms, and legs. During the time of prenatal development, what a mother does can significantly affect her unborn child. My interviewee stated that his mother both smoked cigarettes and drank alcohol while pregnant with him. Kell and Kavanaugh 2019 state the nicotine in cigarette smoke constricts blood vessels and thus reduces the oxygen and nutrients that can reach the fetus through the placenta. My interviewee stated that he was born with severe oxygen deprivation that later on caused him to experience damage to the teeth formation in his later development. However, this oxygen deprivation did not seem to affect his growth physically or cognitively. The next stage is the early developmental stages. My interviewee claims that he reached all the early motor sensory milestones averaged to the custom norm. Kell and Kavanaugh 2019 suggests this norm when they state, by about 5 months of age, most babies have rolled from back to front and can sit upright with support. By 7 months, infants can sit alone, and by 10 months, they can creep. A typical 14-month-old is able to stand alone briefly and walk with assistance. However, he did state that at the time there was not a balanced diet because there were many children in the home. Food went fast, and sometimes all that was left was a little item, just only one item from the food group, and meat portions were very small. The next is the early cognitive development stage, which reflects his school years. My interviewee claimed to be socially competent throughout the elementary school years, where he attended Catholic school. The nuns at his school noticed he was different and thought he had a learning disability, but when testing revealed that he was actually a genius level and was considered a gifted child. Kell and Kavanaugh cite that gifted children and adults tend to be more mature than their peers and have fewer emotional problems. He stated that he was very self-motivated and his learning and motivation always kept him wanting to learn more. Kell and Kavanaugh state that gifted children are passionate about their subject and have powerful desire to master it. Both these statements will prove to be true, as you will later see in his development. Next, I'd like to talk about family influences. Although family influences are not considered a developmental stage, it plays a large role in the developmental process. His parents were devout Catholics and raised their children to be very active in the church. This gave my interviewing a strong moral compass. Being part of a large family caused my interviewee to have distance between siblings and therefore was not overly connected to them. His parents did not treat him differently knowing he was gifted. However, this may be due to them being insecure parents. McMahon and Oliver, 1984, in their article, Problems in Families with Gifted Children, state that insecure parents of gifted children may reduce their feelings of inadequacy about raising a gifted child by ignoring the remarkable qualities of the child. However, this did not seem to bother my interviewee, and even himself chose not to be different. Because both him and his parents refused to make his giftedness a big deal, the siblings had no idea that he was special, and they all were treated the same. Kell and Kavanaugh cite that other authors state, siblings more often get along when they believe their parents to have no favorites, but treat all siblings fairly. Entering into the adolescent years, we see significant behavioral changes with my interviewee. In the adolescent stage, my interviewee confessed that during this stage he partied a lot, drinking and smoking, and was less secure about how he felt about the Catholic religion and religion in general. Some of the erratic behavior could be due to the fact that the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed, and this is the part of the brain that helps regulate your behavior and plan for the future. He did not view smoking and drinking as wrong because it was acceptable among the Catholic religion, but began to question why he should be Catholic and if they were all just like everyone else. Luckily for him, this stage was short-lived. Through all of his questioning, he finally gained some answers. When he reached the age of 17, he found a relationship with Jesus and became a Christian. This began a series of changes in his life for the positive. He had an immediate change in his values around things like work, marriage, and starting his own family. He was on his way to becoming an adult. He began to envision what his life would look like. Cale and Kavanaugh 2019 state, life stories indicate one's beliefs and values, or the ideology of a person uses to set the context for his or her actions. People prove to themselves and others they have either changed or remained the same by pointing to specific events supporting the appropriate claim. They begin to create scenarios that depict what their life could look like in the future. Cale and Kavanaugh 2019. He decided to go to a Christian college known at the time as Rockmont, which is now known as Colorado Christian University, and it was there that he met his wife. His adult life was in clear view when he graduated college and began to work for Promise Keepers. Cale and Kavanaugh 2019 state, joining the workforce is a major step toward financial independence, which in turn is a major marker of achieving adulthood. He stated that the biggest reason for change in his life was due to a relationship with Jesus. Christ transformed his life in many ways in the way he began to make choices for his adult life. He married his wife at the age of 22 and started his family. Cale and Kavanaugh 2019 point out details of Kohlberg's theory sequence when they state this developmental sequence usually unfolds over many years, but sometimes it happens more dramatically, such as when individuals undergo a major transformation in their moral motivation. Christ was the major transformation in his life, and the Bible supports this concept when it states, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, a new creation has come, and the old has gone, and the new is here." 2 Corinthians 5:17, New International Version. This journey through the developmental stages shows that both negative and positive consequences are present throughout. This personal story of my interviewee proves that no matter what happens in life, that if you are committed to Jesus, that he brings redemptive qualities. God sent Jesus to redeem anything that sin may have taken from us. Ephesians 1:7, New International Version states, "In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins in accordance with the riches of God's grace." My interviewee at the current age of 62, he has been happily married for 40 years and has 2 children that also know the love of Jesus in their own life. The Bible verse that he chooses to help sustain him is found in Joshua 1:8, New King James Version, and it states, "Whoever rebels against your word and does not obey it, whatever may command them, will be put to death. Only be strong and courageous." It is through a relationship with Christ that he has allowed him to pass through each stage of development with success and become the man who he is today and have joy. Thank you very much for listening today.